The advantage of being small. Yes, my friends, there is an advantage. I'm not very tall myself, but I'm not actually talking about that. You know I'm not, don't ya? Yes, it is me. It's a new week. It's John Butt. It is Marketing for Owners, the podcast, from the website marketingforowners.com, home of, let me tell you, home of the Owners Club. Exactly. Home of the 7 Ps, the perpetual sales cycle, 7 Ps of modern marketing. Oh yeah. And home of the 5 questions. At some point, that will be my book. The 5 questions are the questions every business owner must answer to be truly successful. If you want to know more about any of these things, you can go to marketingforowners.com and look in the menu on the top under products. One of them says you can grab some free time with me. You can book a time, calendar online, it's all clever stuff, using one of those tools. And I will get in touch with you and we'll spend a good amount of time for free. I'll call you, even the call will be at my expense. And we can discuss a bit of business. And I can give you some advice and I can tell you what any of those mean. And it won't be a sales call. Unless you want it to be. I'll have to think of something to sell you. But anyway, back to the subject. I'm talking about size of business. So sometimes people want to grow. But there are advantages to being a small business. And there are disadvantages, tons of them, to being large. And this is the modern era where you have the advantage. Even Amazon, right? Amazon started small and they have beaten many of the others. But now they have grown into a giant, a gargantuan. You still have advantages against people like Amazon, but you certainly have advantages against others, including your competitors. And what happens is businesses grow big and they grow fat and they grow bloated. And what that means is they have multiple layers of management. They have multiple layers of reporting, because as your business grows and succeeds, you need to bring in systems, lots of management, or rather, let me just qualify that. Most businesses think they need to bring in systems, management, levels of management, audits, double checks, meetings, all those things. Now, I recommend, in fact, wouldn't be without it, systems, and I recommend management, and I recommend meetings. But there are ways of doing them that are not the way they are doing it. But it means that if you want to change your product line, you can just do it. You can add a new product line. A big company has probably multiple venues, stores, warehouses operating in different countries. They've got to set up policies. They've got to check up different regulations. They've got to make sure they comply. Of course, you have to comply, but only in one place probably. They have to check up that. They have to then put people in place. They have to get training because they have systems. And your training, you can do it fast. You can get people active fast. You can, if you've got a website, you can add it to the website today or tomorrow. Maybe it's going to take you a week, but it's going to be quicker. You can change. If something's not working on pricing, you can put prices up. You can put prices down. Remember on Friday, I hope you remember. I hope you're listening to all of these, by the way. And if you're not, don't worry. You can either go to iTunes, just search for Marketing for Owners, just press enter, and then it will come up with little me, my face, and little orange background, and that's the one. Or you can go to the website at marketingforowners.com. For is spelled F-O-R, okay? And then you can go /podcast, and they're all there. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh yeah, Friday. I was talking about pricing. Now pricing, I was saying you should charge more and you should have various types of pricing. But in a big mega organization, they may have other things to consider and they cannot change. Now you have the option to test pricing. You can put Prices up, you could double your prices. Say you charge, you painter and decorator. Generally, you don't go along and say, oh, I'm $30 an hour, or whatever you charge. You go along and say, that'll be $280 for that job. So all of those jobs that you would charge $280, try $380. Just do that and see what happens. I bet you get just as many. But you can do that. Or you could then think to yourself, wow, that worked. Next week, I'm going to try $480. And then you're going to think, wow, next week, it doesn't make any difference. It gets you the same number of jobs, twice as much profit. Do you understand that? Profit? Then the next time, you charge $580, and then suddenly you don't get so many. So you think, whoa, I've hit it. Now I can cut back to $480. You can do that. You can do that any time you like. A big company cannot. Take advantage of these things. You can jump in with email marketing. A big company, that's a policy shift. They've got to get people to sign. They've got to bring in contractors. They've got to do it, translate into different languages, get it out into different countries. They have to get writers. They have to do all these kind of things. You can write one in 5 minutes time after this and send it out 5 minutes later. Honestly, it's that quick. So don't always try to grow, because sometimes when you grow, you have to put in layers of growth, of what would appear to be management, because there will be a limit to what you can look after. If you go from a one-man band or one-woman band and start to employ staff, at some point or other, you'll find that you become less effective when you have more than 5 reports, 5 people reporting to you. So then you need someone to report to someone else. And what do you have? So you have 7, I don't know, say you end up with 7 staff. Do you get 5 reporting to you, 2 to somebody new? Do you promote one of those? Are they management material? All these kind of things start to come in. This is when business gets in the way. And then suddenly you have to employ someone at management who doesn't bring in any more money. And they have to manage staff. This is the traditional way of doing things. Now, I would promote a different way. There are ways of systemizing. And if you were to follow or join the Owners Club, we'll show you how to do that. But it doesn't have to be like that. But a lot of people just don't have the time or the ability and will do the traditional stuff. And then your company starts to get bloated. And then when you've got management, you need to train them. And then what about you? You're a manager. Are you going to get management training, or are you just going to assume you know how to do it? Or are you going to think, I can't afford it, or I don't have time? Why don't you have time? Because you need more staff to make time. And those staff will cost money and don't generate any money. And you see what happens? So sometimes small is beautiful. So take advantage of it. Now, I'm not saying don't grow. I have a company that has management and so on, and we learned. Trust me, I've done this before. I've built a company before. It was horrible. It was horrible because I didn't know what I was doing. I just made it up as I went along because I had no one to get any advice from. I didn't know such a thing existed. Now you can talk to people like me. But when I sold that business, 2003, for a pretty penny, and it was, just let me add, it was profitable, very profitable. When I sold it, I decided not to do this again. And then I did, because everyone says that, I set up a new company. But I decided to do it differently. I then found out how to do it and tried, tested, tried again, tested, tried again, until I found what worked. And that's the kind of stuff I'm teaching you or explaining. Because if I had only known what I know now, I'd probably still keep the first company. It would be huge and it would be set up the way that doesn't cause stress. So you can build one, but at a certain size is an optimum, and then it cuts out. And honestly, I just want you to have the experience. Small is beautiful. You can act quicker. You can make changes. You can do things. Go for it. Okay? Go for it. Don't try and grow too quick. Anyway, this is Monday. You know I always recommend a book for the week. This time is very special, right? The book it's more of a sort of system. And here's the thing, it's called Piranha Marketing. It is by Joe Polish, and it's also narrated with Tim Paulson, right? But if you just look up Piranha Marketing, Joe Polish. Now, it is a book, my thing came in a set of CDs, CDs with workbooks, but you can get this, if you're a member of Audible, it's included in Audible when you're in subscription as one credit. So you can buy it there, but that means you can buy it on Amazon, and it would probably come as CDs, and there's workbooks with it. Oh, it's brilliant. But this is the funny thing. I will tell you this. If you got that and did everything that Joe and Tim explain, you would never need to listen to me ever again. Please do though. Honestly, it is that good. I re-listen to Piranha Marketing every 6 months. It is fabulous. If you run a service business, he started as a carpet cleaner. If you run a service-based business, it's going to just open your eyes. Go for it. I'll be back tomorrow.